With the postponement of the SEBI Grade A examination, there has been a lot of confusion in the last couple of weeks, and I received a lot of questions regarding the timetable, how to strategize, how you can read in the most efficient manner. Now, you also asked me about the courses and mock tests. Now, I really do not feel there is a need for a course, but if you are somebody who does not have enough time on your hands and you are unable to make sense of the paper, especially the paper 2, then I feel that the best course out there is Olive Board's course. So you can go and you can take a look at that course, and of course if you do not want a full course, you can check out their mock tests. So they are providing some really good mock tests at affordable prices. So I leave the link in the description and in the comments. You can go and check them out. They are doing really great job. And coming to the exact strategy and the timetable that you must follow, so I will be discussing all of those things in this video, and you will be getting a great idea about your preparation and how you can strategize in the best manner. Join my Telegram channel to stay connected with important PDFs, links and other information regarding bank exam preparation. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and share it with your friends so that everybody can get access to this information. And if you are new here, my mission is to empower you with the tools you need to get success in all kinds of competitive examinations. So if you want to join me in this journey, please click on the subscribe button, and also do not forget to click the bell icon so that you, my friend, do not miss any future update. Let us begin with this video. Hi, this is Supriyo. SEBI Grade A 2020. Oh my god, there has been so much drama regarding this examination. Now you have a lot of time. Till July 31st, they have extended the application date. So do not waste any time. Go ahead and apply for this examination. Now I have already made a video on the SEBI Grade A 2020 strategy, and I hope that you have watched it. It covers all the strategy aspects, and I have discussed everything about the notification. So any questions that you have about application, those will be solved there. In this video, I want to give you the overall framework that you should actually follow to get the most results in the next 60 days. How can you use your time effectively? How can you actually read with 100% efficiency so that you can crack this examination? So basically in the SEBI Grade A examination, there are lots of components, right? So the first thing is that you should not ignore this examination. Now I have mentioned this repeatedly time and again. This is an examination conducted by IBPS. It is the same institute that is going to conduct SBI, IBPS, all the other examinations. Now if you sit for this examination, even if you are not 100% prepared, you can get an idea about what they are thinking about. What are the most important things? Quant, reasoning, English, general awareness, these things are already there in this examination. But of course, the SEBI Grade A is something that we call a compound examination. So it has quant, reasoning, English, general awareness, all those things. And also the paper 2, it focuses into a lot of financial concepts, a lot of concepts about economics, costing, etc. So those are the things that can be quite new to you, but you should try and you should just sit for this examination to get an understanding into what are the focus areas for IBPS in this year. So go ahead and apply. And now the component breakdown. So what are the important components for this examination? We basically have quant, so quant is there, then we also have reasoning, then we also have English, and along with these things we have GA. So QRE plus GA, this is my first component of this examination. The second component is the paper 2 component. Now paper 2, it will actually depend on which streams you are in. So for the general stream we are going to discuss, and for IT, for legal, there will be different types of paper 2. So it will be subject specific. Now in the QRE plus GA, note this very important thing. When I talk about English, this English, it has not only the normal English that we talk about, but also the descriptive English. Now I have a video on the descriptive English, and you can go ahead and check it out. All the things that I have covered, they will be 100% applicable for SEBI Grade A. And about the normal English, that also I have covered in various videos on my channel. You can go and check, and it will actually be something that you have to cover comprehensively. So QRE plus GA and paper 2, these things you have to cover. These are the main components of the SEBI Grade A examination. Now what about a timetable? So a lot of you were very disappointed that in my timetable video that I have done, I hope that you have seen that video. So in that video I had not actually specifically mentioned about SEBI Grade A. I will be correcting that in this video. I will be talking you through a proper timetable that you can follow so that you can get success in this examination. Now if I talk talk about the marks weightage, so basically in phase 1 what we have paper 1 and we have paper 2, right? Now in paper 1, what's the percentage that you have to get? You have to get 30%. In paper 2, you have to get 40%. So there will be, both the papers are 100 marks, okay? Paper 1 is 100 marks and paper 2 is 100 marks. Now in paper 1, we have quant, reasoning, English and GA, and in paper 2, we have the focused things like we have economics, we have costing, etc, etc. So basically in phase 1, 30% you must score in this paper. Now earlier when the time was less, paper 1 people were actually focusing on, and then they thought that we will cover paper 2 a little later. But now that you have so much time, it becomes very important that you comprehensively cover paper 2. And when you are covering the paper 2, you also have to remember that in phase 2 what's going to happen. So this is all about the phase 1 examination. So for phase 2, what's going to happen? Again, you have a paper 1 and you have a paper 2, and this time also 30% you have to get in paper 1 and 40% you have to get minimum in paper 2. Now this paper 1, it is descriptive English, so 30% you have to get in descriptive English. But remember that the weightage of the marks is differing. So the weightage for paper 1 is 1/3 and the weightage for paper 2 is 2/3. So every 3 marks that you get in paper 1, it amounts to only 1 mark in the final paper for the paper 1. But in paper 2, every 3 marks that you secure, it counts towards 2 marks in your final tally. So paper 2 is extremely important, and you can try and you can just go through the strategy that I am going to show you here, and you can get a comprehensive coverage. So remember that you have to focus a lot on paper 2 now, because you have so much time, ample time in your hands, and later on in August you won't be getting so much time when the examination dates will be finalized and given to you. So you need to also have a stream wise plan. This is also very important. You need to have a plan that for different streams, like for legal, for IT, you can just follow the plan that I laid down in this video, and you can tweak it according to your own stream. So I will be covering the plan for general stream, and you can just take a look at it, and you can ask me in the comments if you have any questions regarding how you can structure your own days. Now what is our goal going to be in the coming 60 days? So basically, as I just showed you, QRE plus GA, this is one very important pillar, you can say major pillar, and the second pillar is the paper 2. So both of these things are very important. Now my strategy, what I am going to do, I am going to give you a fortnightly kind of an approach. Every fortnight you are going to pick 2 actual subjects from paper 2, and you are going to comprehensively study those 2 subjects. Understand what I am trying to tell you? I am trying to tell you which 2 from paper 2. So this is kind of a it rhymes also, which 2 from paper 2. These 2 subjects that you are going to choose from paper 2, one of these subjects has to be conceptual in nature. Okay, so it means that you have a lot of concepts to cover in that subject. And the second subject that you are going to choose, that second subject has to be something that is just something that you memorize, that you do not need to understand that much. So you will soon understand as I go through the actual timetable what you need to do. So when should you be preparing for phase 1 and phase 2? Now it's very important that you do not be confused about this. You need to start with phase 1 and phase 2. This is something that you need to do. Both of these things, there is a delicate dance between phase 1 and phase 2. So you need to have that kind of a balance between these 2 things, so that you can go forward without actually focusing too much on only one thing. And what do you cover in GA? Now this is also a question that I got a lot. So in general awareness, what do you need to cover? So the first thing that you are going to cover is the general GA, the normal GA. So it will be dynamic GA, the static GA. So I have made a recent video on the general awareness. You can go check it out. There I have actually mentioned how you are going to cover these things. So comprehensively, the normal GA daily you need to cover. Then you also need to cover the SEBI specific GA, the SEBI specific current affairs. Now these are very hard to get, but I have a playlist on my channel, and a lot of you have shown a great response towards that. I'll definitely continue that series. So SEBI specific current affairs, what will this help you? This will not only help you in phase 1 but also in phase 2 a little bit, because some questions can come from it, and the most it will help you is in your descriptive section. You will get a lot of ideas through which you can answer those essays, and finally it will also help you in your interview, because you will be knowing all about what SEBI is involved with. You need to understand all of those things, because the interview also you have to clear, right? This exam, it has a lot of layers. It's a compound exam, as I told you. Now also another thing, RBI specific current affairs. Now I also have a playlist about the RBI specific current affairs. You can go check it out. So RBI specific current affairs, don't go too much in depth, just understand what RBI is doing, because many of the regulations SEBI is handling, and also many of the regulations, some of it the RBI is also handling. So there is a tandem between these two organizations. Now as I told you that we are going to do it fortnightly. So the first fortnight, 14th June to 28th June. So it's from this Sunday what you are going to do. So as I told you that QRE plus GA, and you also need to have paper 2 practice, right? There's going to be 3 Sundays, one additional day we have. So the first Sunday, what you are going to do, first Sunday you are going to practice both the phase 1 mock and also the phase 2 mock. It's very important that you at least do one phase 1 mock and one phase 2 mock, because this will help you understand what you are lacking in, what are your natural strengths, and where you need to focus a lot of your energy. So that is what you need to do. And always remember that the Sundays you are going to be using for taking most of your mock tests. So utilize the 3 Sundays. Mock tests are extremely valuable, and as you know, the best mock tests are provided by Olive Board, and I have really been impressed by how they are actually presenting their recent mock tests. So you can go and you can check them out. I have also put some links in the description and in the comments, so you can go and you can attempt their free mock tests and also purchase their courses later on if you like it, so that you can get access to the best quality mock tests for this examination. And of course they are also providing lots of notes and videos in their courses, which will also help you in case you are very confused regarding where you need to go and start with. I got a lot of questions from a lot of people who are confused, but try and understand that this is a difficult exam. So if you need that help, go and take that help if you want. And then the next thing is the efficient general awareness. Now general awareness every day in the morning, as I have told you, you should be covering the general awareness each and every single day. As I told in my timetable video, I'll not take too much time to explain that, but just remember that you need to have a coverage from daily current affairs, any source from daily current affairs. Then you need to cross reference it with one monthly source, and also you need to practice each of these general awareness and revise them. Revision is key. Every 3 days try and revise whatever you have read. Now QRE prep, how are you going to do this? Quant, reasoning, English, you have 3 subjects. How are you going to do it? So the thing that you have to do is on Mondays try and do your quant preparation. Then on Tuesday try and do your reasoning preparation. So reasoning is also quite important, so try and do it from mocks, same as you are doing from quant. And on Wednesday you are going to focus on your English preparation. Now on the day that you have English preparation, remember you have to do the various sectional English tests, and also you need to practice for your descriptive English. Try and read some articles, do some summaries, write some essays. So Wednesday is very important that you do both the English for phase 1 and also the English for phase 2. In the same week that you also have to prepare for paper 2, right? So in the paper 2 you have for the first fortnight focus on finance and focus on Companies Act. Select these 2 subjects from your paper 2. Now why I have selected it? As I told you that finance, this is actually quite conceptual in nature, so you need to know those concepts. And what about the Companies Act? Now Companies Act, there is no concept. Basically you have to remember as much as possible. So that's why I have actually used finance and also the Companies Act. Now Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you are keeping for your quant, reasoning and English. And of course this is a compound exam, so it's not entirely possible that the entire day you are going to block for quant, reasoning and English. So in whatever time you have remaining in each of these days, try and devote it to finance and to Companies Act. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, these 3 days keep it exclusively for your paper 2. So finance and Companies Act you have to do on Thursday, on Friday and on Saturday. So these 3 days, remember, these 3 days will be very important for your paper 2 preparation. So let's take a look into the finance paper actually. So the finance subject, so basically what you have to read, like financial system, that's fine. Role and functions of regulatory bodies in the financial sector. Now very important is SEBI. SEBI you will be reading a lot. Also you have to read about the RBI. You also have to read about the NABARD. You also have to read a little bit about the SIDB and also about about the other bodies like the Exim Bank, the ECGC, etc., etc. So try and get a comprehensive coverage of the financial sector. Now also very important are the primary and secondary markets. So the forex market, bond market, money market, equity market. This is very important. So from this subject actually they ask a lot of questions, and also in 2018 we saw that some questions were asked from the equity markets and the money markets, and the functions of the primary and secondary market, the instruments, the recent developments. These are also things that you must note very well. Then you have the general topics. So you have the basics of derivatives, forwards, futures and swaps. I've already made a video on this, so you can check it from my channel. Recent developments in the financial sector. Now in this thing that you have recent developments in the financial sector, this is the part from which you have to do the GA from. So the GA, as I told you, SEBI specific, RBI specific, dynamic, static GK, all those things that you read, this part will be covered by your GA preparation. So understand there is also a linkage among the paper 2 and about the paper 1 in phase 1. This is very important to understand. Then you have financial inclusion, how technology has been used to actually help in financial inclusion. Then you also have the alternative source of finance, private and social cost benefit, public-private partnership, direct and indirect tax, of course. Then you have the GST, the Finance Commission. Now these two things are very important. The 14th and the 15th Finance Commission, make sure that you are reading both of them. Then the fiscal policy and the different the acts, like you have the FRBM Act, that is also quite very important, the Fiscal Responsibility and the Budget Management Act. Then you have inflation. So inflation, just try and read the various definitions of different types of inflation, and there are various graphs that you need to understand regarding inflation as well. Now WPI and CPI, these two things are also very important in your finance preparation, and sometimes some questions can be framed about the changes in each of these two indices. So that is all about your finance preparation. And now coming to your Companies Act. Now in Companies Act, in the syllabus they have actually mentioned the chapters. Now what I have done over here, and by the way this you can get in my Telegram channel, I have uploaded the picture. So basically I have actually just noted down which sections you need. So the various chapters that have been mentioned in the syllabus, they correspond to different sections. So try and Google or try and search on YouTube using these sections. You are going to get ample data, and all of the sections easily you can go ahead and you can read. Now if you have any problems, of course, as I told you, you can go for Olive Board's course. Now let's go to the next part. So the next part is the second fortnight now. So in the second fortnight, 29th June to 12th July, what you are going to do, you have 2 Sundays, so utilize them well. 50% of the time try and give phase 1 mock tests, and another 50% of the time try and give phase 2 mock tests. Now when you are giving phase 2 mock tests, what I want you to do a technique. So the phase 2 mocks, try and submit them in the initial phase itself. Just submit it and then run through the questions. Why is this important? Because at this point of time you have not covered the entire phase 2, right? The entire phase 2 you don't have. You only know some parts, like you have read finance, you have read Companies Act, so you might not be knowing the answers to all questions. It's important that you just try and see the answers, and whatever answers you can recognize, just add it to your notes. And speaking about notes, Olive Board has actually made a lot of notes and videos on each and every sectional topics, and you can also give sectional mock tests on their platform. So you can go and you can check it out, because they have really compiled all of the information in a very ready to use manner, so that it becomes very easy for you to actually go ahead without a lot of googling and without a lot of going to here and there to actually collect the data. It's going to be very useful for you. Now QRE, so you need to iron out your weak areas of the quant, reasoning and English. This is also very important, that when you are actually doing these things, you have to understand, you have to strategize that which are your weak areas. This fortnight, this is the time that you focus only on your weak areas. Do not worry too much about your strengths, just focus on finding out your weaknesses. Try and analyze those mock tests. Try and see where you are actually lacking, where you are falling behind. This is the most important fortnight for analysis of all of those things. And as I already told you, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday you are going to keep for quant, reasoning and English. You are not going to forget about about the descriptive English, and the later part of the week try and focus a lot on your commerce and accountancy and management. So these are the two subjects of paper 2 that you are going to do for this fortnight. And of course the GA efficiently you are going to do every day. That is a no-brainer. Now why did I choose these two subjects? As I told you in the beginning, first subject has to be conceptual, second subject is a lot about memorizing. So commerce and accountancy is going to be about concepts and all the things that you need to understand, and management is going to be all about how much you can memorize. So I'll just show you. So this is what you need to read for commerce and accountancy. Now commerce and accountancy, it's a very important aspect of the paper 2, and lots of questions are going to come from it. So accounting as a financial information system, this is just all about what accounting is and how it can help the companies. Now accounting standards, there have been a lot of doubts regarding whether they are asking for normal AS or they are asking for Ind AS, Indian accounting standards. Now we have sent a lot of emails, many other students have done the same, and they are not ready to answer. So my opinion is that try and read accounting standards, but also read the Indian accounting standards, because you never know what they are going to ask you. So better that you be on the safer side. Now you also need to do the problems for depreciation. Very simple problems are there, the WDV method, the straight line method, etc., etc. So make sure that in commerce and accountancy some problems also you see, though I do not feel that they are going to focus a lot on problems. So concepts are more important in this examination. However, it doesn't hurt. And inventories, revenue recognition, so when the revenue is actually recognized, fixed assets, foreign exchange transactions, investments. So this is all about your second part. Then you have the cash flow statement, fund flow statement, financial statement analysis, the ratio analysis. Now so you need to have a little bit of idea about the balance sheet, about the profit and loss account, about the income statement, cash flow statement, and also about ratio analysis. This is also a very important thing. So there are a lot of formulas that you need to remember. So the basic ones, do not go for the higher, the very difficult ones, just basic formulas, and you see that these questions, they are very easy. You do not even need a calculator to calculate the ratios for the ratio analysis, so you can very easily manage that. Then you have to account for share capital transactions, including bonus shares and right shares. This is very important because many questions were actually framed in 2018 regarding the rights shares and also about the preferential allotment. It's very important that you focus on this, and also remember that in the Companies Act there are various clauses that you need to remember regarding these allotments. So make sure that when you are reading for commerce and accountancy, you just cross relate it with your Companies Act. Now employee stock option, ESOP, very important. Then buyback of security is also something that's quite important. Preparation and presentation of company final accounts. Try and read the other things first, and at the end, if you get time, you are going to cover that. So keep it at a lower priority. Now the next thing that you have to cover, it is about management. So management is also very important, and I urge all of you, focus on management, because management, there will be a lot of questions from management. So if you have a good hold in this section, I am positive that you are going to score a lot of marks in paper 2. Now management scope, management process, so try and read a lot about the MBO. You have to read about planning, organization, staffing, directing and controlling, the role of a manager, so leadership, various leadership styles, leadership theories, how a successful leader will behave, the tasks of a leader, and all the important personalities who have framed the laws for this. Remember their names, it's very important. HRD is also something very important. So the goals of HRD, concept of HRD, when it came to India and how it was actually evolving in the world. Motivation, morale and incentives. Lot of questions can be drafted from motivation, morale and incentive, because a lot of theories are there which are directly related with motivation. So make sure that you have read all about theory X, theory Y, then you have the McClelland's theory, then you also have the ERG theory, then you also have Maslow's theory, etc., etc. So all of these kinds of theories, note that you have known all about the founders and what these theories are talking about. How managers motivate, concept of morale, factors that are determining it, so incentives in building up morale, communication, oral versus written, this is also very important, the communication channels and how we are actually communicating inside the organization, outside the organization. Also verbal versus non-verbal communication, how it is upward and downward. Questions were also formed a lot on this upward, downward and lateral communication, very, very important. Barriers of communication and role of IT, how it has solved a lot of the issues that were earlier happening. So try and make sure that you are very strong in the management section so that you get a lot more opportunities to score a lot of marks. Now next fortnight, so fortnight number 3 we have reached. So in this fortnight, 13 July to 26 July, you are going to utilize the 2 Sundays again. Now this time what you are going to do is you are going to focus a lot more on the paper 2, because this is the final fortnight that you can invest for your phase 2. Now remember that the next fortnight we are going to exclusively shift towards the phase 1. So make sure that you have finished off at least 85 to 95% of your paper 2 preparations in this fortnight itself. So efficient GA, as I told you, every day it's going to be continuing. QRE now, so you are going to learn less new things about quant, reasoning and English. You are going to revise the same things. So the things that you have already perfected, the things that you are strong in, try and revise a lot of those things. Do not focus too much on the new things, because you need to get into that mode so that you can have a very good success in phase 1. Remember, for phase 1, mock tests are very, very important. So try and get as many good quality mock tests as possible. You can go and you can check out Olive Board mock tests. They will really help you to actually excel in this examination. And if you do not do mock tests for phase 1, then it's going to be very hard for you to crack this examination. Now paper 2, it's going to be dealing with economics and costing for this fortnight. So in the same way, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, you are going to just put more focus on QRE, and the later part of the week you are going to prepare economics and costing. So what are you going to prepare in economics? So in economics, they have demand and supply, market structures, national income. This is very, very important. Have a lot of focus towards the GNI, the NNI and etc, the per capita income, etc, and concepts and measurements, all about the different ways in which you can measure the national income, the GVA calculations, the GDP calculations. All those things are very important. Classical and Keynesian approach, determination of output and employment. So you need to understand aggregate demand and aggregate supply and all the important associated graphs and all the things regarding it. You also need to learn the various functions, consumption function, investment function, the multiplier and accelerator. So the money multiplier concept. I also have videos on my channel in a very concise manner about the money multiplier concept and a lot about economics. So you can go check it out if you want. The demand and supply for money, how it actually works, the ISLM graph, the inflation and Phillips curve, the business cycles, etc. So inflation we have already actually studied a little bit earlier. Now we are also going to talk about the Phillips curve, and as I told you that all the different curves regarding inflation are very important. Then you have the balance of payments. So this is also a topic that I have covered on my channel. Foreign exchange markets, inflation, monetary and fiscal policy, non-banking financial institutions. So this is all about your economics. So try and focus on the areas that I have mentioned to you. It will actually yield you a lot of results. Now let's go to costing now. So for costing, so remember that costing, a lot of it is actually dependent on memorization. So as I told you that every fortnight, one thing has to be concepts, second thing has to be memorization. So economics, lot of concepts involved, and costing, lot of memorization involved. And I will tell you something, that in costing you are going to see a lot of questions come from lean systems and innovations. So JIT, just in time, Kaizen, 5S, the 6S, the Six Sigma. Then you also have the Kanban cards and all the things that some of them have not been mentioned over here, but I still feel that you should understand everything about lean systems. I am expecting an emphasis on lean systems in the coming examination. Then you have the total productive maintenance, cellular manufacturing, one piece flow. Then you have the process innovation and BPR, so business process reengineering, how this is actually helping the organizations. Of course, you also have the cost and management accounting, so the objectives, the scope of CMA, and also the methods of costing. So single output, unit costing, job costing, batch costing, contract costing, process or operation costing, and costing of service sectors. Now these things, they are actually quite boring to read, but I will tell you that try and as much as possible memorize all the various definitions and all the important things that you feel can actually yield you a lot of marks, because costing actually is a huge subject, and people who actually have read costing, they will confirm to you that this subject, it's not something that you can cover in a short amount of time. There's a lot of things to be covered. So if you are unable to cover lots of things, then you can try and focus on the other parts. Don't just think obsessively about costing and how it's going to be covered. So don't worry about that. And And so standard costing, marginal costing, budget and budgetary control, these things are also very important. So cost control and analysis, it's all going to be about cost control and how you can actually make the processes more efficient. So that's what you are going to focus on in the costing part. So that's all about the costing. So let's go to the final fortnight now, 27 July to 9th August. By now you might have the date of the phase 1 examination in your hand. Let's hope so. And so the 2 Sundays that you have in this fortnight, exclusively you have to do what? You have to do phase 1 mocks only. So try and focus your energy towards phase 1 mocks. This is very important. Whatever timetable you have actually created, at the end try and focus as much as possible in the phase 1, because phase 1 you have to clear, otherwise there is no phase 2. All this study that you have done, it's going to be totally useless if you do not crack phase 1. Remember this, I have seen so many students actually end up failing because they felt that okay, I don't need to read reasoning, quant, English, GA. They have actually suffered a lot because of this attitude. So don't make the same mistakes. Now efficient GA, you have to continue this, and at this point of time you have to have a great push towards revision. Revise your GA, revise the things that you have read in your paper 2, and also the important concepts that you have built in your QRE. Now the more focus on the QRE as the phase 1 nears, so a lot of important final things you have to actually just try and focus, and you have to make yourself very strong in that. And then paper 2, you have to just revise the key concepts. In this final fortnight, I do not want you to do any phase 2 mock tests, only focus on phase 1, but for the paper 2, try and revise your key concepts. That's going to be very important. There are a lot of things they are going to ask you, and it has always been the trend that in this part, in this phase 1, they are going to throw simpler questions but many questions to you. So do not worry too much and just focus on what you have already read. And the final 2 weeks out from phase 1, just try and as much as possible focus on your phase 1 preparation. That's going to be key, and that's going to propel you towards phase 2 success. So once that phase 1 exam is just finished, then you have to purge your notes. That is also very, very important. So all the notes that you have actually created which pertain towards phase 1, you have to just eliminate them, and only the things that are going to be useful for paper 2 you have to keep with you. This is also very important. That's why I recommend using Evernote, and that's what I have recommended as I told you about general awareness preparation. I hope that you will be using this strategy to the fullest, and I'll be bringing you a lot more videos on SEBI Grade A in the days to come. Let me know in the comments down below what kind of things you would want to see, so that I can focus on them in the coming weeks. I hope that you learned something from this video and that it was beneficial to you. If you like this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, please click on the subscribe button, and do not forget to click on the bell icon so that you, my friend, do not miss any future update. I'll see you in the next one.